Have you ever felt a pull towards a version of yourself that you desire? Let me frame it in a simpler way. Have you ever woke up at 3 a.m., you sit on your bed, and you said, man, I need to lock in. Like, what am I doing with my life? This is not where I'm meant to be. Have you ever had that deep feeling inside of you that you are meant for more? You are meant to do more. You're meant to be more. You're meant to have more. And that voice in your head tells you, oh, man, I need to lock in. I need to grind harder. I need to do more. You see, what I'm going to explain to you in this video is that feeling you have is actually a call from someone. And that somebody is you. And that you is your desired self. That you is that version of yourself that you wish to be. That desire or that version of yourself that's stronger, that's wiser, that's richer, that's happier, that's healthier. That picture of yourself that you have in your mind of that person that you want to be, that has the house, that has the car, that has the family. Every single time you have that desire in you, every single time you have that feeling inside of you that I am not where I'm meant to be. I'm meant for more. I need to do more. That's a call from that person to you saying, come. I'm here. I exist. Let's enjoy this together. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you using biblical principle, using science and metaphysics to explain exactly how you can answer that call and become that person. Now, let's begin. Every single time you have that voice in your head, sometimes you'll tell yourself, you know what, let me be grateful. You know, I'm in a good position. Let me not want for more. Sometimes you can even catch yourself and feel like you're being arrogant. But you're not. You see, we're actually, as humans, designed to grow, to be more, to expect more. So every single time we level up, we always increase our standards. So you desiring more isn't a problem. But sometimes our minds will make it look like it's an issue so that we will stay exactly where we are. When you have that feeling, sometimes your mind will be like, you know what, no. Be grateful for what you have. Don't want for more. You're being arrogant. You're not being grateful. And that will keep you exactly where you are for the rest of your life. Look, I'm not saying don't be grateful for what you have. I'm not saying don't thank God for everything that you have right now. But understand that it is the same God that has given you the desire for more. It's the same God that understands that there's a version of you that you desire to become and that He has established before time began. And sometimes God will use that desire, will use that feeling that you have for more so that you can get closer to the version that He designed for you before time began. Now, let's get into some scripture. This is the book of Jeremiah 1 and verse number 5, a scripture that I'm sure a lot of you know very well. And it reads, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Now, I'm sure, as I said, this is a scripture we all know quite well, that it said that God ordained us, that He knew us before we were born. If God knew us before we were born, and that version of us that He knew, He said there's a prophet to the nations, that means that there exist different versions of yourself that you yourself haven't seen yet. But God knows. And this version of yourself that you haven't seen yet, or this version that is in your mind, or this version that you desire, God has established before time began. God has not just established, but He's ordained before time began. Now, there's a very important word in this scripture that I want us to understand. And again, we're going to go into the etymology of the word, because the Old Testament was written in the thank you yeah, every week I'm going to catch him out. Every single week I'm going to ask him. Right, so the Old Testament was written in the Hebrew, and we know the New Testament was written in the Greek. So to understand the meanings of certain words, we have to understand the etymology. Etymology means meaning of the word in the original language. So in this scripture, specifically, a specific word I want to highlight in this scripture is new. So when it says God knew us before we were born, there's a very important Hebrew meaning to that word. So the word we're highlighting is new. And this word in the Hebrew is the Hebrew word yada. So the Hebrew word for the word new is yada. What does yada mean? Yada means to intimately encounter. When God says in Jeremiah 1 verse 5 that He knew us before we were born, that word new is yada. Yada means to intimate, I-N-T-A. Thank you very much. Intimately know / encounter. So this version of yourself that you desire, this version of yourself that you dream about, this version of yourself that God ordained, God says that He didn't just know Him from an intellectual level, because when we use the word new, we phrase it in intellectual knowledge. Like, for example, I knew that it rained yesterday. I knew that last week England lost against Argentina, right? This is intellectual knowledge, but this version of knowledge is intimate knowledge and an encounter. So what that means is that that version of you that God has ordained is a version of you that is intimately known by God and that God has encountered. This isn't just a possible intellectual understanding of who you can become. This is a version of yourself that God intimately knows and has encountered. Do you see how that now makes the version of yourself that you want to become so real? That it isn't just a fragment of your imagination, that is a real life person, that is a real being, that this person exists, and this is a person that God has encountered. I want to make something very, very clear, and it's this, and make sure you write this down. God doesn't create an appetite for something that doesn't exist. I'll say that again. God doesn't create an appetite for something that doesn't exist. So the desires you have for that house or for that life or for that family or for that friendship or whatever it is that you desire, for that job, for that business, these things exist. These things are real, and there's a version that God intimately knows and has encountered that has all of these things. So when you have a desire for it, it's not something that it's not something you can't grab. It's not something that's intangible. It's something that really exists and is calling you to come and experience it with him or with her. And that desire you have almost acts as a compass. The desire you have for certain things, the desire you have for a certain lifestyle, the desire you have for whatever experience you want to experience in life is a compass that directs you to the version of yourself that God has ordained, that God has intimately known and encountered, and that you desire. So when you have those desires, don't shun them. Don't let that voice in your head tell you that it's okay where you are. Follow that voice. Follow that feeling. Let it direct you to that version of yourself that you want to become, because there you will experience everything that you've ever desired to experience in this life. You will experience that financial freedom. You will experience that time freedom, that location freedom, that family, that joy, that peace, that tranquility, that serenity, whatever it is that you desire in life. You will experience that if you follow the compass and direction of your desire towards it, because it's a call from that version of yourself to you. Now, what I'm going to explain now is fairly complex, fairly complex, and I need you to really follow along so that you understand the principle behind what I'm going to teach. Now, we're going to go into some quantum physics, right, and some quantum mechanics, but there is a specific topic and a specific thing that we're going to dive into today, which is called this. Quantum superposition. Now you may be asking, what is that? Well, I'm going to explain this theory and I'm going to explain this teaching using an experiment that happened in the 1800s. Now, there was an experiment called the double split experiment. Now, this experiment, what happened was, in the 1800s by a guy called Thomas Young, he got a machine or a laser that fired out photons, so little particles of light, through a sheet that had two slits in the sheet, and projected the photons onto a projector or onto a screen, right? So I want you to imagine this. There's a laser that is shooting out photons through a sheet that has two slits to go through and going onto a projector. Now, what happened when the splits or when the photons were hit against the sheet that had the splits was that it created, and this is the projector. It created a projection of waves onto the screen or onto the projector. Now you're probably thinking, wait, if there's a sheet that has two splits and light is being put through the splits, surely it should just look like this. And this is the light. This is the light, right? This is signifying the light. Surely it should look like this, but for some reason, it looks like this. It looks like waves. And what they found is that light travels in waves. That's the first thing I want you to really understand here. Light travels in waves. And they were so perplexed by this. They're like, okay, how is this possible if there's a split in a sheet, and we are still seeing that light travels through waves. That means that sheet that's in between the laser and the projector doesn't even matter, because the waves are just traveling through it. So what they did this time is like, okay, I want to understand and really go into depth by looking and observing at the particles or the photons, how they travel through the splits, so I can see whether or not it acts as a barrier or not. Upon doing this, what they found was something that even till today cannot be explained. What they found was that upon placing the device, the observatory device, right, it's almost like a camera that detects how the particles move through the sheets, they realized that the way they moved changed. That instead of it projecting on the screen as waves, it projected like particles on a projector, on a sheet like this. So originally it looked like this. Like waves, but then it became like this. And they were extremely perplexed. And then they removed the observatory device and ran the experiment again. They did this thousands of times, and they looked like this. And the moment they put the device there, by the way, this is not a device that can alter the frequencies or alter the waves. It's just a camera. As soon as they put it there, it became like this. Now, there is deeper science into this, but there's a very important principle that I want us to understand. Light acts as waves when it's not being watched. And the determining factor to what made it go from this to this was the fact that it was being observed. The fact that it was being watched changed the way that it projected on the screen. When it's not watched, it looks like this. When it's watched, it looks like this. It forms the same pattern that the split creates. And even to today, there's no explanation for it. What wisdom can we extract from this? Right now, our life and our future, when we are not observing, can look like this. Multiple possibilities, multiple realities. However, when we now observe our life and when we take huge observation towards the things we do, it can become like this, directional. There's a specific pattern that you want to see. And that observation isn't an observation I'm talking about just looking at your life. This observation I'm talking about is a daily act of attention, imagination, and identification. And that is what makes the observation real. The camera that was put into that room was just there to detect what was going on, why things were happening. And the observation in our life is what we place our attention to, what we identify as, and what we are imagining. And when we are placing the observation, when we're doing that with our lives, we can have the ability to create this, a life that we actually desire. Because what the science people wanted originally was to see this. But for some reason they saw this. But the moment they placed an observation upon the experiment, they saw what they wanted to see. So what this means is that we need to place an observation over our lives and exactly what we want from it. And we need to apply ourselves by being attentive to what it is that we are living how we are living, the thoughts that we're having, the imaginations that we are conjuring in our minds, and how we are identifying ourselves. Have you ever thought to yourselves, what am I placing my attention to? What am I attentive to? Have you ever asked yourself, how am I identifying myself? And have you ever asked yourself, what is it that I'm imagining every single day? Whatever it is, that will be the outcome of your reality. Now, how do we answer the call? How do we answer the call from our desired self every single time we have that desire, have that feeling like I'm meant for more, I'm not where I want to be? First thing you need to do is stop seeing desire as lack. Stop seeing the fact that you haven't got that car, or you haven't got that house, or you haven't got that money in your account, or you haven't got that friendship that you desire. Stop seeing that as a lack and start seeing it as a call. The moment you see it as lack, the gap increases. The moment you recognize the fact that you haven't got what you want in your life as lack, the gap between you getting it and you not getting it increases. Secondly, visualize your desired self. Know how they move. How do they talk? How do they walk? How do they treat people? How do they dress? What do they do in their time? How do they speak? Go into very, very deep detail on how this person behaves. And lastly, every single day, do an alignment audit. Now, what's an alignment audit? An alignment audit is you writing down the things that you do versus the things that your desired self does and see whether or not it aligns. If it doesn't align, remove the things that you do that your desired self doesn't do and add the things that your desired self does to what you do. Why is this stuff so important? If you do all these three things, what you're doing is you're closing the gap between you and your desired self, and you are answering the call. And you're becoming that person that you have always desired to be. And you will stop waking up, scratching your head, thinking, why am I here? And instead you'll wake up thanking God that you answered the call.